Hey guys, Jason coming at you Saturday night with End the Simpademic. No, I do not have my hair cut yet. However, that is going to be coming here probably tomorrow, if not later this weekend or later this week. So, anyway, I wanted to throw a subject out there that is going to help, I believe, end the Simpademic, at least to the extent that we're capable of it. I, for one, don't think we're ever going to entirely end the Simpademic. There's always going to be some desperate man out there. But I think I have a way to curb this at least somewhat. And that is, if you're a single man out there right now, do you have a determination or do you have a definition of what kind of a woman you're actually waiting for? And I think most of us are waiting. I don't think a lot of us are actively pursuing, because that seems to be the trend these days, given the toxic environment that we have in the dynamics between men and women these days, particularly in the West. And so, but if you're a single man and you're like me, you're kind of patiently holding out and not actively pursuing, because actively pursuing has gotten me in some not very savory situations. And at the same time, if you're not chasing, then you're also not simping. Because if you're simping, then you're providing unwarranted attention and validation to women who haven't necessarily earned it. So, but if you have a specific design on what kind of a woman you're looking for, or if you have like a set of characteristics, because women are not the only ones who can have specific standards. You know, they have the 6 foot tall, 6 pack abs making 6 figures requirements. And men can have standards too. And I think men should have standards too. And so I'll just share my specific thing or things. And as I've mentioned before in quite a few different episodes of this, I have overcome a very large number of things against very long odds in my life. Any future Mrs. Simpademic is going to have to be of the same vein. And yes, that is a high bar to clear, because people like myself are just not very common out there. And I have overcome more hurdles in adversities than probably 95% of the American population. So I am looking for within the 5%, and then even then only half of those are women, and even less of those are single. And so, but the good news in this particular situation is I only need one, you know, and there's more out there than one that would meet that particular standard. And but the reason why this is so important to me is because people who are complicated and have very unique life circumstances, we tend to be the ones that get the least amount of grace from the rest of the world. But because of this reason, people like ourselves also give the most grace of anybody else in the world. And you put two people like that together, and you have two people that are desperately needing grace, but are also capable of providing each other the same grace and appreciation, which the other person, each other, is going to be sorely, desperately needing. This is my logic behind this particular characteristic that I am specifically waiting on or seeking. And when and if it occurs, it's going to be phenomenal. I think it would be a shining light to the rest of the world if God should choose to create that scenario. And because I'm looking for a very narrow, specific type of woman, or on the lookout for them, I should say, it's not going to matter how physically attractive they are, although that would be a nice bonus. But that is the most important characteristic I would be seeking, and the most important characteristic that I am personally waiting on and hoping for. A rare breed indeed. So if they're not that particular type, I don't care how hot they are, I'm not going to be interested. And let me also throw this out there. Would I ever need to simp for this woman? Well, think about it. No. This particular situation would be one where I think we would both just know. There's not going to be any convincing or persuading needing to go on either way. With two people with that particular characteristic, which is very, quite a nominal percentage of the population. Again, I have overcome a near-fatal traumatic brain injury. I have overcome being a survivor of one of the largest cults in American history. And along the same token, I'm also the son of alcoholic and abusive parents. And I had a successful junior bowling career despite having almost no support from anybody else and having to work and buy my own equipment, which means I had less of it than almost anybody else. I wasn't one of those guys that could walk into a bowling center with 8 different balls. We had some of those, but I only owned 2. But because I practiced quite a bit, was very consistent with my delivery, and utilized certain characteristics of my bowling game to my advantage, I was better than the lion's share of the junior bowlers in the state of Colorado. And I did this with nominal support and against tremendous odds. I was not supposed to be where I was, but through tenacity and some unique resourcefulness, I was close to the top. Wasn't at the top, but close. And so making things happen and overcoming things against incredible odds is going to be a characteristic that this woman is going to share with me. And again, we're rare characters. And that is the most important thing that any woman who enters my life, and to be honest, would convince me to sacrifice the peaceful living that I have these days. But she will have that much to offer, and vice versa. And we're both going to know it. And so, to everybody else out there right now, to any men, single men who are watching this at this point, do you have a set of characteristics that are just your absolute, you will die on this hill characteristics that you're looking for? Because I think it's important to have. Because you're not going to be begging or groveling or desperate for attention from anybody who comes along. Because you're looking for something very specific, or waiting for something very specific. And I think this is important. I think any single man out there should have, a set of characteristics that they're waiting for or looking for in a woman, because I think that's very important. Because I think that what that also does is it means that you're going to prove to be compatible. Compatibility is much more important than raw chemistry, because compatibility is the key to long-term success. Emotional chemistry or brain chemistry is not. And so, if you don't already have that list and you're a single guy, I would highly suggest building one. What are the things that are important to you? What are the things that mean the most to you? What are the things that a woman is going to bring that are going to help improve your life? And I've found the things that will improve my life and her life at the same time. This is compatibility. Chemistry or, emotional attraction or a dopamine hit is not where it's at. It's complete and full compatibility that matters the most. So if you don't have that list, get it, build it, think about it, even pray about it if you're in my situation, and just drop them in the comments if you have any to share. I would certainly love to take a good look at that. And again, if you drop a comment, and if I feel so compelled, sometimes your comment can be the subject of an episode here. So, since I have such a small following at this point, and you can be part of an episode, not necessarily by name, but I could discuss your post. I've done this quite a bit. So, anyway, guys, enjoy your Saturday night, enjoy the rest of the weekend, get some rest, and have a good Sunday, folks. This is Jason and the Simpademic. Peace out, homies.